Long ago, in the north of Ireland lived Fionn McCool, a great warrior and leader of the Fianna, a group of warriors gathered to protect the High King of Ireland. One day, Fionn was bored and tired of wrestling other members of the Fianna and seeing who could throw the biggest rocks furthest away, an unfortunate pastime for the locals. As Fionn was fishing on the coast of Ireland, he wished some great warrior would come along and prove a challenge for him. He heard a voice over the sea. Peering out over the waves, Fionn saw some bold figure making faces and shouting names at him. Enraged, Fionn immediately started throwing rocks into the sea to make a bridge to the island and teach that rude fool a lesson. Fionn worked hard, and by the time he reached the island, the stranger was nowhere to be seen, and Fionn sailed off home to the great hall of Allen. As he reached his home, a young servant boy was waiting for him and introduced himself as a slave to Fear Jarrick. Fear had heard of Fionn's adventures and had sent the boy to announce his intention to battle Fionn for the leadership of the Fianna and the Hall of Allen. Just as the boy had finished, Fionn heard a large rumble, which meant Fear Jarrick had landed in Ireland and was coming for Fionn. As Fionn waited for Fear to arrive, the shaking had gotten so much Fionn stuffed moss into his ears to hear himself think, and had visions of a giant 100 feet tall coming to squash him under his foot, until he turned to his wife for advice. Fear arrived to the Hall of Tara, where he knocked loudly on the door and was greeted by his slave, who showed him into the hall where Grania was waiting to invite him to a meal with her and her baby son. First was a griddle cake, in which Grania had left the griddle. When Fear bit into it, he broke a tooth and let out a shriek of pain, but Grania, which knew which part to eat, was fine. Next came the bread, which had a stone in the middle. Starving as Fear was, he took a big bite out of the bread, only to lose 2 more teeth. Yet, Grania and the baby ate fine. Finally came the ham, which looked so nice and juicy, Fear couldn't believe it would hurt him to eat it. Once he bit in, he lost 3 more teeth, as there was just strips of fat nailed onto a stone. In shock that anyone could be hard enough to eat this food, Fear looked at the baby, who was really Fionn in disguise in the bonnet, and if a baby could be that big, imagine how big the father must be. In pain and terror, Fear ran off to the north of Ireland and back to Scotland. Fionn jumped out of the cradle and ran after him, but Fear had reached the bridge Fionn had worked so hard on and had torn up all the rocks as he ran by. Furious, Fionn grabbed a piece of land and threw it at Fear. It hit Fear's head, and a piece of it broke off and landed in the sea to the east. The hole left in the ground filled up to become Loch Ness, and a piece of land became the Isle of Man. And Fionn's bridge survives to this day as the Giants Causeway.